All right, hi, and welcome back to another episode of Entrepreneurship 101. I'm here with Peter again, and our guest today is Penn State alum Ryan Solomon. Ryan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, my name's Ryan Solomon. Like Alex had said, I'm a Penn State alum. I graduated in December of 2020 during COVID, and I'm currently the head of community and content over at a startup called Entra. We built a social network for entrepreneurs, investors, startups, founders, and freelancers, and for really the future of work.
Very
Cool.
cool. Excellent.
So,
So
I,
thanks for joining us, Ryan. I'm sorry, Alex, I jumped in front of you, but I just want to say thank you to Ryan and Alex for producing and Ryan for being the guest. And let's get moving. Alex, go ahead. You can start us off with our first question.
Thank you, Peter. So, I just want to direct this question to you, Ryan. So, new companies seem to be finding and attracting talent through new sources like social media. So, how do you think this might shape the way hiring and recruiting evolves over the next few years?
Absolutely. It's actually really funny that you bring that up because one of the guys that I've hired on my team actually came through TikTok. So I was going live on Entra's TikTok, and this one guy kept coming in. His name's Andres, and he DM'd us on Instagram and said, "Hey, do you have any internships?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, we do. We're a startup. We we always need people hands on deck." And he was like, "I love what you guys are doing. I would love to be a part of the team." So he reached out, and I had a couple interviews with him and brought him on the team. And then now he's actually not even just an intern; he's actually an equity partner, which is really cool. So it's really cool to see someone evolve from just kind of intern work to now having like a really, really important role on our outreach and growth. So he's been absolutely killing it. Yeah, that's
Cool.
been a big part of it.
All right. We still got, what do we got? 40, 50 seconds. So this is the
Yeah,
challenge of Entrepreneurship 101.
yeah.
So hey,
I
what
would
else do you got? Other thoughts?
I would also say you would be baffled at how CEOs will respond to DMs, like cold DMs. Like I've actually been offered probably 4 or 5 jobs in the past 6 months, and a
Oh,
lot of that is from Twitter, TikTok, and also just text. Like literally, the one guy who I met through TikTok texted me one day and was like, "Hey, Sully, do you want a job?" And I was like, "I'm good. I appreciate it though." And I also think people, especially students, should realize that people's DMs and emails are open. Your opportunities are not that far away. You just have to be able to, reach out to people.
All right, there it is. That's 101.
There
All
we
right.
go.
The first one's always, I think it's always the hardest because 101 seconds, that concept sounds like it's a really short amount of time until the clock starts on you. And by the
Yeah.
way, we're going to get to Alex is going to be calling to action and say, if you want to give this a try, take 101 seconds. We'll see what you've got. But Alex, we're going to actually bounce it back to you for some of your thoughts on this same topic, social media, interviewing, recruiting, finding people. What are your thoughts on this? We'll give you the same 101 seconds that we just had Ryan with. So go for it.
yeah, I really like what Ryan said. I love the power of TikTok. I think, in my opinion, I think we're going to see more hiring and recruiting through social media platforms. Like he said, he found someone through a TikTok Live, and I think that's amazing. I think that's the road we're heading to now. So, because LinkedIn was the norm for hiring for this past decade, but I think social media platforms or more social media platforms will come into this space and take over LinkedIn. Um, so I think TikTok has already came into the space, and I think they're testing out a job application tool already for its users, and the users can already apply directly through videos. And I think they're actually sending video resumes instead of just a handwritten or typed resume. And I think that's where we also the puck's heading to too, is more digital interviews and resumes. Like for example, also too, I think it's great that the opportunity could be like anyone can be hired. Like anyone could be scrolling through their For You page and have the opportunity to apply for a job. And they could be in a different country or a different city. But because of the power of remote work, you can have the same opportunity and be in a different country or city. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think it's pretty cool that you could be scrolling through your For You page and you can see a company that you might have aligned with your values and you think it may be a great experience to work there. And like you say, you could just send them a DM or you could just hit them up and just say, hey, I would like to work here. I feel like I'd be a great fit. And that's why I love the power of TikTok and all the social media. And I think social media will also play a huge role, like I said, in hiring. Like I said, in the video resumes, I think, like I said, the videos.
Good. There's your
And
101.
One quick thing I wanted to add that I forgot to mention. One thing I've done with our TikTok is actually I'll find cool companies that I like and I'll do a TikTok on them, and then
Hmm.
I'll find their CEO and send it to them. And that's actually how I got one of the job offers,
Very
right?
cool.
So using whatever you're doing now and sharing it with people, like it's literally just like free value add. Just saying like, hey, I thought your company was really cool. I did a video on it, or I did an article, or I did a podcast about it. Keep up the good work, and that can lead to really big opportunities.
Excellent. Cool. All right. So,
Thank you.
Alex, where can people find more stuff from us? And then we'll get to hear where can people find more about Ryan and what he's working on?
Yeah, sure. I mean, thank you guys for listening, and don't forget to subscribe if you guys are listening on YouTube. It would be greatly appreciated. We're always looking for guests. If you know someone or you think you would be a good guest or a candidate for the podcast, please contact us at abington.launchbox.psu.edu. And Ryan, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Entra at Sully, or on Twitter and Instagram at Sully Does It All. And then my email is Ryan at Join Entra if you ever want to shoot me an email and connect. And also, I do have a Calendly link on my Entra profile if you ever want to schedule a call. I am always open to anyone who's in the Entra community.
Cool. All right. So for the next topic, I'm going to direct this question to Peter. So Peter, how are social platforms changing to meet the new needs of members? How do you think platforms will change to find new opportunities to engage with their members? You have 101 seconds.
All right. So I definitely think obviously social media is changing. And even if we just look at the format from TikTok to YouTube and Instagram Reels, obviously we're moving from a text-based, then we started to getting more image, and now we're moving images, right, with video. And I think that leads to a couple of things, and I think they're really disconnected. So the first thing that I see when I look at some of the content being created in platforms like TikTok and Instagram and things like that, I see incredible planning, production, where people are putting together 4 or 5 different shots, different angles. And I think about from a production standpoint, there's a lot of planning, forethought, and hard work coming to put together a 30-second clip. And I'm really impressed by that. But then you go on when in your question, like what are we going to see moving forward? And I also think, but that's produced, right? That's now kind of a formed version that people want to see versus some of these things where you're doing a live stream, whether it's on YouTube or even Instagram, where it's just a live, authentic view. This is me in my natural habitat as I am, no cuts, no edits, nothing in between us. And to me, I think that's where we're eventually going to go. So while I appreciate the production value and the hard work and the planning that goes into a multi-clip piece, I also really, really like seeing people in their natural habitat. I love what Ryan was talking about creating content where you're talking about a business or a company and sharing that with them as a pathway. And I think that's authenticity that matters. All right, so Ryan, since you're our guest, you get to be involved in everything today. So we'll get some of your same thoughts on that same topic, same 101 seconds. We'll turn it over to you for 101.
Awesome. No, I'm super excited about the future of social. You definitely touched on short form content being huge because especially Gen Z generation probably has the attention span of a goldfish. So definitely short form content is here to stay. Live audio rooms, Clubhouse is the one who really paved the way for that. Now you're seeing Twitter Spaces, Spotify Green Room. We also have our own version of live audio rooms over on Entra. So we have lots of entrepreneurs and VCs hosting their own rooms there. And then another big part of it is with Web3 and crypto. That's where things get very interesting, and having creators being able to make more money with their content. That's really the biggest thing. I'm seeing so many founders and VCs tweeting about Web3, and I see so many people just talking about the creator economy as a whole. Because the creator economy is absolutely incredible, and allowing creators to monetize easier is probably the most important part of just creator space as a whole. And I think somebody to follow on that is Lee Jin. She's the founder of Atelier. Is it Atelier? I'm like 90% sure it's Atelier Ventures. I can double check that as we're talking. So she posts a ton of stuff about the creator economy. Definitely like a really, really important part of it. And I think that crypto is probably going to tie into it really, really well, and allowing creators to monetize easier get paid easier. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest part. And then also, I think creators are starting to monetize on other platforms. Like TikTok is driving people to their YouTube or to their paid newsletter or to their Patreon or whatever. So creators are really monetizing on multiple platforms, not just staying to only one platform nowadays.
Yeah, I think you're right on with all those points about how I think TikTok and Instagram, they're great feeders into the traditional sales funnel where, a website is great, but it's like a billboard. And if people aren't driven to that space, no one ever gets to see it. And what I really like about the short form and the social media format is it's a low barrier to entry, but it's driving people up into that chain of value creation for the content creator. And that to me is where I see a promising future for this.
Yeah, and I also think, to your point on authenticity, I think another part of it too is I think content platforms are like something that's not really considered a social media platform. It kind of is, but Discord and Slack, there's all these communities popping up left and right in just about everything, and I see that only expanding because in reality, like the however many thousand followers I have on Instagram, I don't really know half of them. But whenever you're in a Discord community, you're talking with people that you really enjoy. And I think niche communities and niche platforms are going to kind of be the next wave, which is why I'm really bullish and really excited for the stuff we're doing at Entra.
Awesome. All right. So again, we are here, Entrepreneurship 101. We're going to be a weekly podcast through the fall, as Alex is helping us produce. So we're going to be putting these out every Tuesday at 11 a.m. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, pretty much wherever you can find podcast content. You're going to be able to stumble upon us by just using Abington Launchbox in the search frame, where you can jump there directly from our website at abington.launchbox.psu.edu. All right, and just like that, we're on to our last and final topic. So Ryan, I'm going to come to you with this one, let you kick this off. We'll do some wrap up at the end of this, so we're not going to cut anyone off quite yet. But Entrepreneurship 101, it's a quick bite, less than 20 minutes. Get some content, get introduced to some people in the entrepreneurial ecosystem in and around Penn State. So topic 3, here we are. Ryan, so I'm going to ask you, as online platforms and apps, they're continuing to add more features. We've just been talking about some of these things with adding, short form videos to Instagram, these things. But what role do you think no code is going to play in helping companies to build and update their apps, possibly create more robust environments, more rapid deployment of things? What are your thoughts on no code and how that might be changing basically the app environment for people for the next few years at least?
I absolutely love the no code space. No code is a super powerful tool. For those who don't know, probably the two biggest players in the space is Bubble.io and then Adalo. Bubble is really great for building web apps. You actually can technically build a mobile app if you wrap, how to do it, I don't know, but you can wrap a Bubble app in, I believe, React, and then actually publish it to the App Store. So you can get around it, but it's probably not worth doing at that point. I think no code is really, really good at proving out minimal viable products and getting yourself there. There's so many people I meet, especially young founders, a lot of them in college. They'll say like, I want to build a mobile app that does XYZ. Like I met someone who wanted to create a platform for college students to find to get internships. And I told him, I was like, does it need to be a mobile app? And he was like, no. And I was like, yeah, don't spend $100,000 on a mobile app. You can prove the app on a web builder like Bubble or Webflow or a bunch of these other no-code platforms and build it out that way. It's 1,000 times cheaper, 1,000 times faster, and you can learn to build incredible things. There's lots of incredible things you can build on no-code. And there's also templates that you can just snag and just mess around with, even if you're not that good of a designer. I think it's a really, really awesome way of doing it. And I actually just got connected with a venture studio that specializes in no code, and we're actually gonna be doing some events over on Entra with them. So I'm super excited for that. They will give you like 10 grand if you have an idea. And then if you get traction, they'll actually invest up to a couple $100,000. So really bullish on the no code space.
Cool. Yeah. And that concept of kind of like putting bits and pieces together reminds me of, there's a children's toy called Little Bits that are kind of electronic components. Connects to batteries, that connects to light sensors, sound outputs, light emitters. But basically they're magnetic and you can plug them together, But the point is, you can rapidly prototype, you can rapidly test and learn. And we're actually using some of this at Penn State with our teaching and learning with technology group up at University Park. And again, what it's doing is it's helping people to accelerate that prototype minimum viable product process, much like what you're talking about, where the no-code environment comes into play. Alex, you're going to get the last word on app development and no-code and how might apps be changing in the near future. So I'm going to give you the final 101 seconds of the day.
Thank you. I mean, I have to agree with Ryan. I mean, when I wanted to get in this space, I actually DM'd Ryan to see how to get in the no-code space because I saw it growing and I think it is the future. But I think it's going to take some time to be like let everyone adapt. But I think it will be the future. There are some spaces that people need to learn the tools. There's some type of learning curves like Bubble.io. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but like Adalo, I think, is Google Sheets. So I believe that's a less learning curve, and I believe people will fall into that space or want to use Adalo instead of Bubble.io. But I feel once big creators come into the space, people will become more comfortable with no code and fall into the space. Essentially, I'm following a lot of Twitter influencers right now, but I feel like once more Twitter influencers and Instagram creators come into the space, I feel like everyone will come into the space. Like I said, there's plenty of options for tools. My favorite's Bubble.io. Like I said, it has a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm getting through it. I mean, I would use Google Sheets if you're just trying to test something out quickly, but if you want something nice and neat, I would use Bubble.io. You can even create, like I said, web apps or landing pages. Like if you're just a startup founder and you want to create a website or a quick startup page, web apps are perfect for that. So you can create those through Bubble. I also have seen that you can create Google Chrome, attachments or
Add-ons, I think they are.
Add-ons, yeah, that's why. Yeah, you can create those. That's pretty cool. I also think, like I mentioned, with tutorials, I think that we're getting there, but yeah.
Good. And there it is. That's 101 seconds for Alex. That's 3 topics. That's our guest, Ryan Solomon. So, Alex, how about I'll turn it over to you for some of your final thoughts. We'll obviously get Ryan some final thoughts, and then we'll wrap for the day.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Ryan, for coming on today. Thank you. I appreciate you responding to my first DM about no code and getting me to download Entra on TikTok. So I appreciate that. I love the app. I love version 2. And thank you for coming on.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, no, love popping on. I can talk TikTok and no code and startups like all day. It's an absolute blast. So it's a pleasure having me. I'm happy you reached out via TikTok. I'm happy you found me that way. It's been a huge user acquisition for us and just meeting really cool people. I've made countless friends just through TikTok, which has been great. And yeah, for call to action, definitely check out, make sure to listen to the podcast, give it a subscription, and then head over to joinentra.com, sign up, you automatically connect with me. So shoot me a DM if you ever need anything, and make sure to introduce yourself and share what you're building, share what you're working on, and connect with other entrepreneurs and investors. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to have me on.
No, it's excellent. Thank you for joining us, Ryan. And again, you can learn more about the Abington Launchbox, abington.launchbox.psu.edu. Some of the things that we're doing that kind of connect to what we're talking about today. We've got workshops coming up on how to build videos for things like case competitions for students, but also interviews. We're seeing a lot of students that are having to submit 3 to 7 minute videos for their interviewing process, and we want to help them to be competitive in that market. And then the creator economy, when we get to November, we've got actually someone that is in the creator economy, YouTube, Twitch, Amazon Prime, creating content. He's going to be here talking about what it's like to start, run, and manage a business. I believe he started when he was 15. So he's going to be talking about 10 years, a decade in business of creating content and how things have changed. So we'll have those things coming up. Find out about them on our website. But again, check out our podcasts, our videos on YouTube, and all the other places that we are available via podcast. Alex, final word as we wrap for the day.
Download Entra.
All right, there you go. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Alex, again for another great production. We'll see you all next week.